On a radiant summer morning, the grasshopper bounded through the tall grass with a fiddle slung across his back, strumming joyful melodies in perfect harmony with the warm breeze. Under the sun's soft glow, he sang to his heart's content, lost in each note as dragonflies hovered and butterflies danced in attendance. Nearby, the ant worked diligently, each grain of corn he carried into the anthill echoing his unwavering commitment to preparation. Their paths crossed often, and the grasshopper would pause mid-song and call out, "Why slave away when the sun is shining so bright?" But the ant, voice steady and earnest, replied, "I am laying up food for winter. Join me if you can." The grasshopper only laughed, convinced that summer's abundance would last forever, and continued his playful serenade, dismissing concerns of colder days as needless worry. As the weeks slipped by, the seasons began their subtle transition. The sun's brilliance softened, leaves began to turn golden, and evening breezes carried whispers of chill. All the while, the ant's store of grain swelled, piled high beneath torchlit tunnels, each morsel a promise of survival. Meanwhile, the grasshopper danced beneath the harvest moon, his fiddle now adorned with autumn leaves, while he hosted impromptu gatherings for woodland creatures. "Winter is a distant story," he would say, oblivious to the accumulating frost beneath his feet. The ant, working without pause, would gently remind him, "There is a time for joy, and a time for preparation," but the grasshopper merely plucked another note and carried on. Then, with no fanfare but inevitable purpose, winter arrived. A thick blanket of snow covered the meadow, and morning breaths hung visibly in the frozen air. The once lively grasses stood brittle and silent. With wings stiff and heart heavy, the grasshopper realized he had no shelter, no food, no plan. Shivering and weak, he made his way to the ant's burrow, each step laden with regret. He knocked on the wooden door, voice trembling, "Friend ant, I'm cold and hungry. I'm sorry I neglected your advice. May I share a little of your store?" Inside, through the window, he glimpsed warmth. The ant sat by a fire, a table laden with food, instruments resting at his side. In one telling of the tale, the ant opened the door but remained stern and resolute. "You sang all summer, now dance through the winter." And with that, the door closed softly, leaving the grasshopper alone in the snow. But in a kinder, more compassionate version, the ant paused, regarded his former playmate, and then sighed with gentle resolve. He opened the door wide and offered a modest portion of grain. "Bring your music," he said, "and as long as you share your songs, you may stay." The grasshopper, tears warming his frozen cheeks, stepped inside, humbled and grateful. That night by the hearth, his music filled the tunnel with renewed hope, and the ant, who had prepared for both hardship and the unexpected guest, found his mind softened by melody. Winter lingered, and the unlikely pair shared more than food and warmth. They shared stories, laughter, moments of reflection. The grasshopper, once careless, helped gather firewood, swept the floor, and practiced with his fiddle. The ant listened in awe as each evening's notes brightened the long, cold nights. In return, the ant spoke of planning, of foresight, and of lessons learned through years of toil. When the first green shoots of spring dared to break the thawing soil, the grasshopper looked into the ant's eyes and promised, "Next year, I will prepare, but I will also sing. I will balance work and joy." True to that promise, summer brought a transformed harmony. The grasshopper carried a small satchel of grain while humming a fresh melody. He paused at the anthill before playing his song for the ant, who listened and tapped his feet in appreciation. Meanwhile, the ant paused in his work, smiling at the music that now accompanied every step of his industrious life. They walked side by side, each clear in their purpose, each honoring the lessons of hard work and compassion. And as they did, the meadow itself seemed to hum with balance, every creature, every note, every grain a testament to the profound truth they discovered together, that life's fullness lies in preparing wisely and rejoicing freely.